Right, so in this one we're going to talk about single matches and maybe a few different kind of matches. I think maybe I'll go into the eliminate the battle royal based ones as well. I'm thinking do those two types, and I might go into a bit more. I'm thinking doing cinematic on their own, mainly because there's quite a lot to go through on those ones. So let's start. The singles match is the most common professional wrestling matches, which only involves two competitors competing for one fall. The victory is obtained by pinfall, submission, knockout, and count-out or disqualification. One of the most common variations of single match is to restrict the possible means for victory. So we're going to go start with the blindfold match. So in the blindfold match, the two participants must wear a blindfold covering their eyes for the entire match. A well-known example of this is when at WrestleMania, the match between Jake the Snake Roberts and Rick Martel is also known as the Prince of Darkness match. A lot of you also must have seen the Triple H one where he kept on pulling it over his head. They had something over his head, he kept pulling it up so he could cheat. So the next one we're going to go into is now the Pure Wrestling Rules match. The type of match that consisted of the Ring of Honor. In Ring of Honor, usually for the Pure RH Pure Championship, each wrestler is allowed to only allow 3 rope breaks. Once they are used all breaks, the wrestler cannot use the ropes to escape pins or submissions. Close fists are legal, and the first offence, if seen by the official, results in warning, and the second offence results in disqualification. Now we are going to get into the blood sport and underground matches with a few examples of when that happened and when for. So we've got blood sport and underground matches consist of a unique rule set compared to the traditional pro wrestling event. That's every match must end in either a knockout submission. The traditional wrestling ring is replaced by a ring canvas with no ropes or turnbuckles. So, the first one I'm going to go into is the GCW Bloodsport. This event has worked shoot matches in style that mimics the early days of MMA and catch wrestling. It is common for Bloodsport competitors to have some knowledge in other combat sports or MMA, as well as professional wrestling, as these one-on-one matches often appear stiff or have real feel classic shoot-style wrestling fights. Just like you know about the underground wrestlings that NXT and Raw both had them. So in August of 2020, Raw introduced the segment in its third hour as Raw Underground, hosted by Shane McMahon. It was a Fight Club-inspired concept taking place in the basement of the WWE Performance Center. The matches were held in a ring with no ropes and a black canvas. They were short, work shoot style, and could end by knockout, submission, or McMahon's call. Raw Underground segments aired from August 3rd to September 21st, 2020. For WWE's NXT brand, they adopted the concept beginning the July 4th episode of NXT between Eddie Thorpe and Damon Kemp. Unlike Raw matches, these took place in the main studio. The ring's rope being taken down and black canvas covering the ring. Thorpe defeated Dijak in its second NXT Underground match. The first women's NXT Underground match took place on week 2 of NXT Springs Breaking, where Lola Vice defeated Natalia. Vice, whose real name is Valerie Ladora, competed professional MMA in real life. That match would later standardise the signature match, defeating Shayna Baszler, Jada Parker, and Kelly Jordan. Now we're going to get into shoot styling wrestling rules. So the shoot style wrestling rules is inspiration behind the Bloodsport, Underground, and Pure rules, derived from multiple companies that cropped up during the Japanese shoot style boom in the 80s and 90s. While they still all emphasise victories via knockout, submission, and stoppage, they typically do not count pinfalls. The exact rules varied from promotion to promotion. Also, the traditional wrestling ring ropes and turnbuckles were retained, as they played common points system. Now, in newborn UWF, the revived WF of 1988 originated the proto point system that multiple subsequent companies followed. In order to reward overall dominance during the match, they dictated that the wrestler would also win the match via 5 knockdowns. Furthermore, 3 rope breaks to escape submissions and counted as 1 knockdown. In UWF International, the successor of UWF, kept the rule, but formatted them as 15 explicit points that either wrestler would start out with or would lose after knockdowns that were 3 points or rope breaks that were 1 point. When reaching 0 points, the wrestler would forfeit the victory. They also added successfully performing an overhead bridging suplex as one of the opponents, as reducing that opponent's point by 1. Also promoted six tag team matches, wherein the points would be increased to 21 or 30 for either side, respectively. And in Fighting Network rings, matches and rings adhered to 30-minute time limit and were winnable via 10 count-out knockout, submission, TKO, or judges, should the time limit be reached. Competitors were both allotted 10 points and would lose 1 if they grabbed the ropes to force a submission break, or 2 that would be by knockdown. Should the time limit be reached, the winner would be who lost fewer points. Should the points be equal, the judges would decide. So you got pancreas, equated to 1 rope break to 1 knockdown, as it began its existence with a 5-point limit on competitors. As time went on, they changed the specific multiple times. In 1996, they lowered the non-championship matches to 3 points, where in 1998 they delineated points by the match's time limit: 3 for 20, 2 for 15, and 1 for 10 minutes. I'm going to get into the Battle Royal based variations, because 6 minutes is not really enough for a video on matches, so I thought I'd make it a bit longer, have this video as single matches and Battle Royal, because they are different types of single matches. But I think if I did them all together and then do this one a bit different, so that the Battle Royal is multi-competitive match type in which the wrestlers are eliminated until only one is left. Typical Battle Royals began with 20 or more participants, with all in the ring at the same time, who were eliminated by being thrown over the top rope and having both feet touch the venue floor. We're going to start with Battle Bowl. Battle Bowl is a 2-ring variation on the Battle Royal. In these matches, the wrestlers start in one ring and try to throw wrestlers into the second ring, after which they could be eliminated by being thrown out of the ring. The last remaining wrestler in the ring can rest until only one wrestler is left in the second ring, after which they both in the rings until one is eliminated and a winner is declared. In similar fashion, the double elimination tournament. This was held with the WCW at 1991 Starrcade event, but in future Battle Bowls, matches were contested under the normal Battle Royal rules. And then there's also the match Battle Zone. The Battle Zone features any number of men in one ring over the top rope elimination. A typical Battle Royal, except this one, features tables covered in barbed wire, thumbtacks and light bulbs on the outside of the ring, which may catch wrestlers as they are thrown out of the ring. I'm going to get into the Bunkhouse Stampede. In the NWA's Bunkhouse Stampede involved wrestlers wearing what was described as bunkhouse gear, boy boots, jeans, t-shirts instead of their normal wrestling tights, and not only allowed but encouraged to bring their own weapons. Bringing of weapons. In 1988, the NWA named the pay-per-view after the Bunkhouse Stampede, headlined by Bunk Stampede match held inside a cage. Recently, the match has been revitalized by Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express and his wrestling academy in Chuckey, Tennessee. And we're going to get on to the Last Blood Battle Royal. Last Blood Battle Royal is essentially a multi-competitor versus blood match. All competitors start at the same time. Wrestlers are eliminated when they start bleeding. The winner is the last wrestler of the match not bleeding. This match was held in the Tri-State Wrestling Association, predecessor of ECW. I'm going to get into a match that's generally used in TNA. The Reverse Battle Royal. So yeah, it's generally used in TNA. A Reverse Battle Royal begins with the wrestlers surrounding the ring instead of inside it. At the start of the match, they battle for the half of them to get into the ring, at which point a standard last person standing wins the Battle Royal. The Cage Reverse Battle Royal is another TNA's variation of the match type. This actually has 3 stages. It began in the first stage at the Inside Out Battle Royal with 15 or more wrestlers involved. First 7 to enter the ring over the top of the cage will advance to the second stage, which is a gauntlet match. When it gets down to the final stage, only 2 wrestlers will battle, and the singles match, which is decided by pinfall or submission. We're going to get into the semi-final battle royal match. A semi-final battle royal consists of battle royal when a specific number of wrestlers are remaining. The match ends and that remain are placed in a standard wrestling match for the price of a steak. An example of this occurred on January 2024 episode of NXT, where 20 women competed in a battle royal that became a fatal four-way once there was 4 competitors remaining. In All Elite Wrestling, it is known that as the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, as 12 competitors compete until it is reduced to 2, and there is a subsequent episode where the final 2 compete, in this case AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring. In New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2021, New Japan Rumble at Wrestle Kingdom 15 was conducted as a semi-final battle royal. Chase Owens' bad luck fail, and Tatsuya Bushi and Toru Yano with the final 4 to compete in this championship match the next day. I'm going to get into the World War III match. So, created by WCW in 1995, the World War III Battle Royal involved 3 ring setup and 60 competitors. 20 wrestlers started in each of these 3 rings, in which they would create under regular battle royal rules. Once there were 30 competitors reigning, except in 1997, where there were a number of 20, all competitors would enter the centre of the ring and continue under regular rules until only one wrestler was left standing. It's also a handicap match that I'm going to get into just because it's the only one that I can find. So the handicap match is the match pitting one wrestler or team of wrestlers against a team of wrestlers with numerical superiority, which against 2 against 1 or 3 against 2. Normally the babyfaces are outnumbered, with the heels having more members on their team to provide an unfair advantage. In some or 2-on-1 handicap matches, the team was superior numbers under tag team rules, with one person in the ring at a time. In others, such as tornado tag team handicap matches, all competitors are in the ring at the same time. In the 80s and 90s, handicap matches were used primarily in matches involving large superstars, usually heels such as King Kong Bundy, Big Van Vader, and Yokozuna, who, as a way to get a monster heel or persona gimmick over, but the crowds will compete and dominate their opponents despite the lack of superiority in numbers. So I'm also going to get into submission matches, so it's typically a variation of the single match with pinfalls, count outs, disqualifications are not legal, and not legal, and the match could only be ended by opponent tap. So you've got the throw in the towel match. Throw in the towel match is also known as no surrender rule match in TNA. It is a singles match where there are one or more cornermen for each participant, and the victory obtained when an opponent's cornerman throws in the towel in the ring to single surrender on behalf of the wrestler. An example of this type of match is when Bob battled with Owen Hart as his cornerman and Bret Hart with the British Bulldog as his cornerman at the 1994 Survivor Series. And then there's also the catch as catch can match. It's a singles match where any submission hold are allowed that is not intended to inflict injury, which contains mostly submission amateur style wrestling. This match is altered to stipulate that any wrestler may lose by going to or being forced to the arena floor, like a battle royal. For example, of this type of match, in the infamous match between Dina Malenko and Billy Kidman during WCW Sold Out, where Malenko lost in 2 minutes by forgetting the rules and escaping to the floor after a barrage of attacks from Kidman. You also have the I Quit match. It's a single match where the wrestler must force the other wrestler to submit in the form of saying "I quit" into a microphone to win. This match runs under the hardcore rules: no disqualifications, no countouts, and the submission can happen anywhere. The referee follows the action with the microphone in hand during the event. You also have submissions count anywhere match. This is a variation of Force Count Anywhere match. It debuted at Breaking Point 2009 between D-Generation X and The Legacy. This is a tag team stipulation where the wrestler can be submitted anywhere to win. There are no pinfalls, no disqualification, and no countouts. This match only occurred once in WWE history. I'm also going to talk about substance matches in this one. I'm just going at this point, for ones where there's not as many and then I'm going to do other videos where it's just going to be shorter, but there's going to look quite a lot. So this one is a match consistent in a large container filled with various substances, typically between two female individuals who may or may not have experience with wrestling. The substance can include anything from mud to milk chocolate milk. Sometimes the substance is certain occasions like gravy or Thanksgiving or eggnog for Christmas. A notable example of this is the Minnesota Mayhem match, which it contested between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy at All Elite's All Out pay-per-view in 2020. It was only to gain victory by pinfall, submission, and knocking the opponent out into a large match of Mimosa. Unlike the traditional reasoning, the theme fits with both parties' gimmicks. Jericho was promoting his own line of champagne, and Cassidy is billed as freshly squeezed as part of his gimmick. Another example of this match was the chocolate pudding match between Candice Michelle and Melina in one of those matches. There's also the bloodbath match. A bloodbath match is a no disqualification match where the first is covered in a vat of blood dispensed from a bucket loses. The Brood members Edge and Gangrel had a bloodbath match in WWE in 1999. There's also the mud match, perhaps the most notable substance for a match, where the wrestlers would wrestle in an arena containing a ball of mud, usually away from the ring. Usually women would participate in these matches and some occasional male involvement. There's also the hog pen match, a variation of the mud match. In this match, the mud is held in a pig pen on a farm, often filled with mud and pig excrement. Hunter S. Hamley and Henry O. Gordon participated in a hog pen match in WWE's In Your House 5. The only objective is to win, is for the first wrestler to be thrown in his opponent into the pig pen. Right, for the last bit of this one, because I don't want to make it too long, but because I do want to do different kind of videos for each of the matches where there's more matches to talk about, more examples. So we're going to talk about the winners take all match. It's the last match I'm going to talk in this video. The two scenarios constituted with the winners takes all match is title versus title matches, in which both wrestlers are champions going into the match, and the winner receives the championship of the loser, thus taking all. This differs from championship unification matches, where one championship is absorbed into the other and retired or deactivated. In a winner takes all scenario, both titles are still active and defended as separate entities. In a winner takes all matches may also take form in tag team matches, in which two separate titles are fought in the same match, such as Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch defending the Universal and Raw Women's Championship respectively against Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans in 2019 Extreme Rules event. So that's all I have for this video. Now I'm going to get, I think for the next one, I'm going to go into so like the cinematic matches. I think the next one's going to be, and then I'm probably going to add some others onto it. I had a little bit of a look through for one beforehand, and I thought I'd do section by section, but realising how short some of them were, I just thought I'd put all the shorter ones in together, and then if I want to do a long one when I'm next off. Right, sorry for the bark, that's my dog. But yeah, I thought I'd do all the shorter ones first, and then I can write that down, and then I can get into the ones I haven't done into the next video. I just thought I'd do a quick one because my last one, the Harley Boys, I had to cut a bit out because I was going to get a copyright strike and I could not be arsed with that. So I just thought I'd do this, get this out, and then I could do my next one probably tomorrow before I go anywhere, or I'm going to say Friday when my son's not here, depending on what shift I'm on. Because I do have to work, so I've got Friday and Saturday. Most likely going to do another one, but it might have to be until next week where I continue doing this type of video where I do about matches instead of wrestlers or championships or promotions. Because I know I've done a few on that. There might have to end up being where I just do live streams for a while until I can get a chance to do another video after work. But yeah, just tell me what kind of video you want next.